What's good? Matt Clark here at the new Matt Clark. How are each and every one of you doing on this amazing Sunday? I'm doing great. My girl's doing great. My family's doing great. I hope each and every one of you are doing great, even though we're living in times of kind of who knows what's going on. If you could hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell notification button so you get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that would be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of all my videos. So I've been putting out a lot of content this weekend, as you guys can see. Obviously, there's a reason for that. I'm moving, and I'm not going to be moving close to where I'm at now. You know, it's going to be a little bit of a distance. So I probably won't be doing a whole lot of stuff this weekend or this week. So most likely, I'll put up one video at some point during the week and maybe jump in for a live quickly one day. But aside from that, I'm going to be really busy. And I just want to let you guys know now so you're not left in the dark. Aside from that, what's up? A. Thompson Beats. I'm good. What's up, random user? Yes, I'm staying in Ontario. I'm just leaving the GTA York region. I'm going to move out into those sticks, man. You know what I'm saying? And if you're in the building, hit that like button. Joey, what's up? What are you saying? You guys don't get those like buttons up, we're going to have to just stop talking over here. You know what I'm saying? Chris M., what up? Random user, were there a lot of normal cigarettes in prison, or was it mostly weed? To be honest, man, you make more money off cigarettes than you will off anything else. Cigarettes are the number one in-command contraband, for sure. More than any drugs. 6 summers. Wagwan, big mom. What I say? Chris M., hit that like time ago. How's it going, sir? You blessed? Yes, I am blessed. So right now I'm smoking House of Glass, Charlotte's Web, CBD dominant shatter. It's got THC in it too. It's actually really good, really tasty. I'm also eating some of these Nerd Rope gummies from my homie at Well and Terp Chaser. These are bomb. These are they're only 100 milligrams each. You eat 2 of these, and you're gonna have yourself a very exciting night. And then I'm smoking on the Piff. I got. Let me show you what I'm working with. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but this is some really, really beautiful island pink. Super dank and sticky. It smells like gas. No dispensaries. Dispensaries are a ripoff. Facts. They way overcharge. You know what I'm saying? Way overcharge. So what do you guys want to talk about? What's the topic of discussion today on Sunday? Obviously, we have to talk about Conor McGregor getting knocked out. I saw that fight. Knocked out cold, man. Cold. Got the brakes beat off of him. That's what happens. You cannot be inactive and fight the elite guys. Like, you lost to Khabib when you were active. Dustin Poirier is the next ranked fighter. You can't be inactive and expect to beat those guys. You just can't. Those guys are the elite of the elite. You get a little over cocky. You start thinking that you're better than everybody because you're getting paid. And look what happens. You slip and boom, you're sleeping. Conor McGregor. You know what I'm saying? So what do you guys want to talk about? What are the questions? No questions? Nobody's got no questions today? Why not, man? It's not my internet, is it? You guys can hear me. Okay, here we go. Hey, from Lavador, love the videos. You helped me through a lot. I got to say I'm sober 5 months today, and I started watching yours when you were talking about your addiction. Smoke weed and shatter and mushrooms, though. To me, like being in recovery and being sober is totally different things. A champ got chumped. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, Steve. What was the turning point a bit after you moved into the trap? Like what you said, like what made you say not for me? Well, really, it was getting arrested. But like I was already uncomfortable. You know, I had already been thinking about for months, years even, getting away from the life. But I just kept getting caught up, and the addiction kept pulling me back. But I just think when I got arrested the last time, for me, it was like, do I want to continue doing these bits, which are going to just keep getting longer and longer just for nothing? Like, just so I can spend 50 G's, blow it, may have nothing to show for it? It's whack. I can do that working and save that money. Chris M, no training, MMA. The only times I really fought was just growing up in the system and in the streets, for sure. I'm not like some super fighter. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the toughest guy going. But I have been in a lot of fights. And if you're not a fighter and you haven't been in a lot of fights, well, then maybe I would be tough for you. But being tough doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything, especially these days with all the weapons, with all the guns, the jumping. You can be as tough as you want, but they'll chop you down real quick if they feel intimidated by you, man. They'll just gang up on you. So there's not a whole lot of point to run around acting like a tough guy. Sorry. Were there a lot of smash-ups in Tyack? I would say that there were smash-ups in Tyack. I'd say we were locked down so often that more so than not, it was just boredom. It was just like fishing the phones, fishing the garbage cans. We'd fill them with water, throw them back and forth, especially on 7C, which was a seg range for the last couple of years that it was open. It's just mayhem all the time. You know, guys would throw shit at the bars where the guards were. We'd end up getting locked down for that. And then they'd come in with their hazmats because they couldn't walk in with it. It was crazy, man. Tyack was nuts. Tyack was all around war. That's what I'm saying. You could train all the Muay Thai in the world until you come face to face with somebody with a strap. 6, yes, Joyceville is a pen. I've locked up in the Hearst, not for criminal stuff, but BS charges and accusations. So I was kind of forced into choosing GP or PC. So I chose Suicide Watch because I know I wouldn't make it with the mental health. I know, but I have is GP really. Okay. Reception, then a pen. Yeah, Joyceville, when I came up in the system, was not reception. When I started doing pen time, you went through Millhaven reception. And then Joyceville was a mother like Workworth or like Collins Bay. But then they switched the system around. They closed KP and they turned Joyceville into reception. And they made Collins Bay like a super complex. And then they made Fembrook more of a bigger complex. They built a more secure range for guys that were a little bit harder to handle, more like a prison. And they just kind of switched it up like that. Hey, man, I was locked up. They would always talk about the jails, that federal jails like Spring Hill and places like that was crazy. Lucky I wasn't stuck in a place here. They call it LCC. I was stuck on remand. Yeah. Honestly, though, bro, I think remand is a lot worse, you know, depending on which remand you go to. Sure. There's some country remands that you go to where they're good. You know, the food is good. There's packages all day. Everybody's smoking. Everybody's chilling. Not a whole lot of problems. But usually the provincials where the problems are. Usually that's where the BS is. Usually that's where everybody's just about stirring it up, causing trouble. Like if you're in Lindsay or Maplehurst or the East or the South or any jails like that where you're basically locked down majority of the time, anytime you get out, you're just going to have all this pent up energy and it's going to be almost impossible for you to behave. You know, it just is what it is. Yeah, prison is kind of like rehab. You know, it can be. You know, if you go to jail for a few months, it's a perfect opportunity to get sober because you're forced sober. Like I said, when I got arrested, I had to quit heroin cold turkey. I went 14 days with probably like an hour or two of sleep over the whole 14 days. And the only time over that time I got a break was when my boy sent me a point or two of junk. And I was able to like kind of save it, stretch it through a couple days so I could sleep. And it kind of like broke the monotony and the torture of the 14 days no sleep. Explain why out of all vehicles for your getaway was a caravan. No disrespect. That's because that caravan was not supposed to be a getaway vehicle. It was my boy's mom's vehicle, and we were literally just cruising around doing stuff, picking up girls and stuff. It had nothing to do with crime. It's just that the cop who when we were pulling out in front of behind that plaza, and that cop kind of came head first with us, that cop automatically recognized me and said, "No, that's Matt Clark. He doesn't have his driver's license." Followed me and didn't even try to stop me, didn't even try to pull me over, just tried to run me off the street. And it became more like a demo derby than a high-speed chase. I'd call it more like a slow-speed chase. What was the craziest range I've been on and where? Well, it's got to be 2A backside in the dawn. Has to be. Somebody was murdered on my range. And his dead body was thrown at the front of the block. And I was only there for like 2 weeks at the time. What does anyone think of Brockville Jail? I know Brockville Jail is an old school jail. I've never personally been there. Hi, Matt. What is the Thorold Detention Center like? I have no idea. I know that's in Niagara. I know it's one of the better detention centers. I know that the food is good, and I know that it's one of the few like old school detention centers where the inmates kind of have some say. If you're in the building and you haven't hit the like button, go up and hit that like button. There's no reason for you guys to be here watching this live stream and you didn't hit that like button. How's there 19 guys and 8 likes? I don't understand that. Maplehurst offers lots of programs such as schooling and other outreach opportunities I saw when I went to pick up my property. Yeah, but not really. They say that they offer those things, but do they? You have to be like the guy on a driving ticket to get any of those programs. The dawn was intense. Also, the dawn you talk about a lot. The place seemed like hell. And honestly, I only did like a month in the dawn. But the time that I was there was a real wake-up call for me. Green 5, hi, Matt. Big fan of your work. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Scary shit. I'm happy I wasn't any true Joe. Would probably give up. Yeah, no. Honestly, like, you know, before that, I had seen a lot of people stabbed in Joyceville. You know, I had seen some major beatings, some major stabbings, but it seemed like every time people pulled through. And this time when this dude was killed, you know, hearing him scream for his life, and then just seeing him dead out on the front of the block. And at the time I was in cell 3. So when he was laid out and they were doing all the CPR and stuff, we are already locked into our cells. And I basically am sitting there watching this guy's dead body for like an hour. And when they lifted him up off of the mattress, there's like, I don't know if it was brain matter or what it was, but there was stuff all over the mattress and it was grody. Do you think our jails will ever be reformed or it'll always be business as usual? I don't think it'll ever be reformed because there's a portion of society that believes that it should be more rough, that it should be harsher than it is. Now, obviously, if you're doing time in Canada and you're not a max, because the max are serious. You know, let's get it real. They're locked down the same as a max. anywhere around the world. They're just as violent. They're just a smaller population. But if you're doing medium time in Canada, your pen time's probably not the worst time in the world. Okay, you could be doing time in Honduras or Bolivia, or you could be doing time in El Salvador or Mexico or Jamaica, where the prison's going to be a lot more violent. But your freedom is still taken away from you. You know, there's still violence all the time. And even in a medium security prison, you see tons of violence. Maybe not in like a Fembrook or a Bath or one of those lower medium securities, which is more like a college campus. But any like prison-style prison, the way that they're set up, people are going to have pent-up frustration, anger. People are going to be losing it, being taken away from their family for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So obviously you're going to have violence. No problem, Jerry. Do people have weapons besides shanks? I never personally saw weapons besides shanks. I know there was a time in Lindsay where they found bullets when I was there, and they brought in the ISIT team. Maybe I'll tell that story one time. It was kind of crazy. Actually, I probably will do that video. But most of the time, it's just shanks. Sometimes you'll see a carbon fiber buck knife, which is crazy. In the Canadian max prisons, do inmates have to share a cell? As far as I am concerned, no. I don't think they do. If you're in Collins Bay Max, maybe. I don't know how it is there, but I'm pretty sure if you were in Millhaven, you were in a single cell. If you were actually classified maximum security, and if you were in Kingston Penitentiary, I know for a fact that you were a single cell, because in TD unit, those cells are so small. Like literally the space between the bottom bunk and the top bunk is like that big. You have to like slide in if you were going to do it. Humble Squid 666. Appreciate the support. Kill prisoners and other killings. This is the thing. If you go to prison, you shouldn't be killed. It just is what it is. Do I play PS4? No, I don't. But I do have a question. Can you like shoot videos and upload videos off of PS4? Could you do that? Martin, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I wouldn't necessarily say that everybody in the new generation is a bunch of goofs. I just think that this generation is different. You know, when we were growing up, my generation, we were outside, you know. We were outside fighting, falling into creeks, falling through ice, falling out of trees, you know, throwing stuff at cars, being chased by people and beat up. Like we were out there. And I think now with all the with all the technology anyways, nobody does that anymore. So this new generation is different. They're smaller. If you see them, they're all smaller. They're a lot softer. They're a lot more sensitive. So, you know, it is what it is. Any more questions from you guys on this beautiful Sunday? Generation is definitely too much snowflake. Reckless like you were back in the day, but nowadays you see a kid acting like that, you would talk to them. How you doing your YouTube back in your great teachers? What I'm trying to say, yeah. Oh, for sure. You know, but also at the same time, I know that you can't just try to impose yourself on people. If people aren't ready for change, they're not ready for change, you know? It's just about having the door open if somebody needs that support. Green 5, how is contraband smuggled into a max institution? Even if I knew, that's not something that I would ever say on here. Just get creative and think about it. What do I think of Maplehurst and the food? Well, Maplehurst is the worst of the super jails. It's the worst. The food of all the super jails is horrible. Sure, once you're there for a while, they start tasting okay, and you fool yourself into believing that it's some of the stuff is edible, but really it's all crap. It's all garbage. I'm going to be trying to upgrade my stuff soon, guys. I'm going to be trying to upgrade. It's just that in the process of everything that's been going on in my life over the last 6 months, getting a new vehicle and moving and all that stuff, the finances aren't great, so it's hard to save up. When you see that a laptop that you need with the processor and video editing is so much money, it's crazy to me, man. It's crazy to me. Extra honey buns and Maplehurst and cookies every tray I got. Yeah, for sure. But I remember I was there for the strike last time I was in Lindsay, and they were bringing in like the real honey buns, the ones from the gas stations, the big ones like this, and the pink Twinkies, the double Twinkies, and they're bringing all these fancy desserts, and the food was just way better. It was like airplane food. Still wasn't the best in the world, but it was definitely a step up. And man, I put on like 50 pounds in like 2 months. It was crazy. I was definitely, keep in mind that I was malnourished. So a lot of that weight probably went on within the first couple times. Is it like this around the time you're seeing? It seems like more young kids are trying to be like us older guys, selling dope, robbing people. Yeah, the young guys are definitely crazy. They'll shoot you the fastest, they'll rob you the fastest. Because when you're a kid, when you're 15, 16, 17, you lack empathy. You don't have the same empathy as somebody who's fully developed mentally. I believe that. Rachel, in federal, what were the social programs, leisure programs like? Well, in federal in Canada, when you go to yard, usually most prisons will have a gym. So they'll have a basketball court. Most will have a weight pit. A lot of jails have a music room, which will have like keyboard, drums, guitars. If you pay a monthly fee and you help contribute to keeping the room clean and stuff like that, you can do that. Now, in the higher securities, there's a little bit less of that, but there's still things you can do. You can get bursaries. I know the Canadian government offers bursaries for college courses for people that are locked up. There's a lot of things that you can do to better yourself, and there's a lot of things you can do to keep yourself occupied. Read a lot, dude. Once again, you're a great communicator. I really respect how you tell stories and approach this. Mad respect. Thank you very much. Stay employed, and I will try to make a donation. All right. I appreciate that. Hold on. Slow down. I saw a video in which you detailed process through the criminal justice system, and a lot of people claim to be innocent while locked up. Did you meet someone that you thought was legit innocent? Honestly, no. Not just off the top of my head. I'm sure over the years I probably have, but no. Because I was definitely involved in the mix, right? I was definitely involved in the subculture. So if you were somebody who was trying to prove your innocence and stay out of trouble, you're probably not going to come around me. You know what I mean? To be honest. Terrence Abadi, I said I was Jewish to get kosher food. My meals came from some catering company. They still do that. In some places, they still do that, but you do have to prove it. They'll ask you some questions about the religion and stuff. Yeah, for sure, John. Gym, hockey, weights, repeat, wait for parole. 100%. Aqua Cortex, have you been to Thunder Bay Jail? No, I have not. If so, how is it like over there? I have no idea. I'm not, ever going to go to Thunder Bay. I have no reason to go to Thunder Bay. To me, it's way too far up north, and I don't love flying. So, but I'm sure that Thunder Bay Jail is a northern jail. I'm sure in Ontario. It's got a high native population, and I'm sure it's probably pretty rough. You know, a lot of those little small town buckets, you got to put your hands up and you got to fight. Did I rep ever, or just run around reckless with your bar friends? I never rep, but I had, like, the guys that I squatted with, they were repping. I just never committed to that because just wasn't me as a person, you know. I was more about just trying to make money and have fun. I wasn't trying to be involved in no gang politics, you know. But I definitely had homies that were in gangs, and you know, I leave that stuff off of here for sure. Grandson, what's up, homie? Thomas McDermott, living in Newfoundland. Kelvin Kenny killed a friend of mine. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, and I don't know the story, and I don't know, you know, why he would have done that. And I'm not saying that he was right or wrong. I have no idea. I'm sure he was wrong because for the most part, killing people is wrong. But that doesn't mean that people don't change and people don't feel sorry for it. But from what I saw, there was videos of him fighting and getting involved in politics and stuff. So I'm sure he was involved in the politics. And when that's what you do, you know, sometimes it can backfire on you. It could cost you your life. Gangs are just a pyramid scheme for criminals. I totally agree. Pass your money up to somebody who doesn't give a damn who you are. When someone gives you a shoulder bump walk by, does it mean that they want to go, or are they just testing you? See, that's a hard, I don't know. I'd say most likely they probably want to fight you. But even if they don't want to fight you, you can never accept just a shoulder bump like that. You'd have to, you know, say something. Everywhere but jail. I feel that. Urban Burner, what up, bro? Adam Earl, what's the longest time you spent on the run? Whew. Like on the real run? I don't know, to be honest. But usually if I was on the run from parole or if I was on the run from a halfway house, it would be within a few months that I would get busted because I would be doing crime. I get greedy, you know, you get sloppy when you're using and shit. You know that. So, you know, probably 3-4 months. Dan Man, should I have ran my bail or was it a bad idea? I have no idea, Dan Man. Depends on where you're running from. Jay Vlar, is Jerkworth still considered a hideout institution? I don't think it is. Since I know since they closed Joyceville, now you can go from Workworth to the unit or to Collins Bay, which you wouldn't have been able to go from Workworth to the unit 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Tyler, what's up, brother? How you doing? How much time do you get for a drug charge? It depends on the drug charge, depends on how many charges you've had, depends on what kind of drugs you get caught with. There's a big backstory to what happened with Cleveland. There are others involved, sadly, but he was the one to lose his life in the end. And like Matt said, other people change, and no one knows the true story and never will. In Stony Mountain, they unlock the cells, but you need a cell stick to lift the latch to let yourself out. Okay. Rachel, what was the holidays like? Did you guys get Christmas dinner or anything? You get all the Christmas dinners. You get the Thanksgiving dinners. They're just jail Thanksgiving dinners and stuff. Is uttering death threats a bad charge? Not really. You know, but it depends. It really depends. You know, without context, I could never tell you, you know. If you were like calling somebody and threatening to kill their 6-year-old, I'm sure it would be a pretty serious charge. But if you know, are telling your ex in the heat of anger, you know, you probably get a 6 months or a year for that. But you want to try to beat those charges. They're not charges you really want to have on your record. Matt, I'm starting to think the whole PCBC thing is true because PCBC, I never heard that. I heard that the time over there is fairly soft unless you're in Kent, but I never heard the PCBC thing. But if somebody's constantly getting arrested with drugs and guns and constantly getting out, stay away from that person. Seriously. There's no way that person ain't a rat. Unless they're a freaking millionaire. Have you ever been to any prisons where sex offenders kind of mix with the general population? I ask that because there's some prisons in it. Yeah, well, I've been to OCI. Now, there's who knows about confidential informants, because if they're confidential, then they would never tell you. But OCI... OCI definitely had sex offenders. It was the most horrible place. And the pen has sex offenders, but they're not out there. You know, they're not telling people, I'm a sex offender. You'll get hurt. Do I believe the Illuminati is in jail? I don't know. This is the House of Glass, Charlotte's Web shatter. And good stories about Rope Squad. Not really, to be honest. My parole life was pretty boring. For honoring the death threat, I got 1 year probation when it happened. That's it. 1 year probation for uttering a death threat. See that? What have you heard? Anything about Quebec prisons? I've heard they're really bad. No. Quebec prisons are actually some of the best places to do time in the country. Like, Donnacona is the best max to do time in. The most comfortable max to do time in. They have the most privileges for max. Most of the prisons there are inmate run. You know, they have a lot of pull in that province. So you're going to do a lot of good time. Now, it's still prison. Archambault Saint-Anne-de-Plain is the shoe. It's very serious. Donnacona is a max. It's going to be very serious because it's a max. Archambault, I think, is a high medium, if it's even open anymore. And then there was Leclerc, which I think they closed, which was, I don't know if it was a good joint. I don't know about that place, but you want to go to Quebec to do time, be honest. Anyways, listen, I got 1 more minute on here, so I got one last question. Okay, here it is. Which province has the worst penitentiaries? I would say it's got to be Ontario. It has to be. If it's not Ontario, it's one of the prairie provinces. I just say that the prairie provinces have bad maxes. Like Stony Mountain is a max and a medium all mixed in one. I know there's a lot of PC going on there too, though. And then you have Edmonton Max, which is a very serious place. But I think Drumheller is actually a good place to do time. And I think, what is it, Bowden? Bowden is the other medium there. I don't know about it. I've never heard much about it. So I would say that definitely Ontario, because in Ontario you have Collins Bay Max, Collins Bay Medium, which are both serious. You know, you have Millhaven, which even though is a lot of PCs, is still serious. Somebody just got murdered there recently. Then you have Warkworth, which is a high-medium security pen and can be dangerous. You have Joyceville Reception, which can be dangerous. Then if you go to the provincial jails, you have the South, the East, you have Maplehurst, Central East Correctional Center, all the provincial jails, people dying all the time, plus ERDC or whatever, Exeter Road. So I would say Ontario. Anyways, I appreciate you guys for stopping in, taking the time to chill. Like I said, I'll be trying to put out some videos, you know, maybe not this week, but the week after. I'll try to put out one midweek this week and maybe jump in for a live stream quick during my move. But I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate the support from you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing Sunday night. Peace in the new Matt Clark.